Do you think Big Meech like told on somebody to get out, snitched, did anything extra?
No. Let me tell you why. Big Meech's paperwork is public records. There is no proof that Big Meech said, hey, bust him, bust him, bust him.
Terrence "Gangsta" Williams, the dude who actually did time with Big Meech, is stepping up and silencing the noise.
Big Meech, bro, I ain't gonna lie. That man got to that compound, and man, he had some of the guys I would never think that would get EMF, ENT on the left side of their neck, man.
He's putting 50 Cent on blast for pushing wild rumors that Meech was snitching, and he's backing it with some jaw-dropping tea. According to Gangsta, Meech wasn't just another inmate. He was running that prison like a certified boss. Every man in there showed him pure respect. No fear, no force, just real loyalty. This whole twist got the internet losing it.
In here with a 27-year sentence based on Demetrius Flannery, as you all know as Big Meech, and Tammy Cowens, known in the paperwork as CS1.
Right.
Confidential source 1. So what Big Meech did was call a third-party cooperation.
People are now questioning 50's whole narrative like, wait, did he really just lie on Meech's name? So what's really going on here? Was Big Meech truly tied up with the feds? Or is 50 just salty that Meech teamed up with Rick Ross and left him standing in the cold? The streets want to know, and Gangsta just might have the receipts to prove it. See, an old interview just resurfaced, and in it, New Orleans legend Terrence "Gangsta" Williams broke everything down. He said Big Meech had that yard on lock, no debate. Folks were lining up behind him like he was royalty walking through, and not because he had to flex.
Sammy Cohen is a government informant. So they tell me, he says, you know what this is about? And I said, no. He said, well, you threatened a government informant, and that's a federal.
Meech earned that love through presence, power, and respect. Wherever he went, the energy shifted. And get this, it's about to get even wilder. Big Meech actually had a real chance to escape and slide right back into that luxury life before the feds caught wind of it. But guess what? He didn't take it. He stayed solid and decided to face his time like a man who stands on principle. That move alone shut down every whisper about him folding under pressure. Now, before we dive deep into that escape story.
It's selective politics, and it's selective who they gonna call a rat or who they not gonna call a rat in this industry. So we've been saying that since I've been home.
Because trust me, it's straight out of a movie. We gotta clear up these snitching claims. Everybody knows 50 been out here screaming that Meech turned informant, all because his former associate Tammy Cowens allegedly said so. But when Gangsta got asked about it, he laughed it off, said he don't believe Meech ever switched sides, and it gets even messier. Gangsta didn't hold back on the industry either. He came for rappers and execs who love to play snitch police when it suits their image. He said plain and simple, a lot of these folks pick and choose who to expose, and when the truth finally drops, their stories fall apart. To really get the full picture of how this whole snitch talk even started, you gotta rewind it back to BMF's rise, and that dramatic fall that landed Meech with a brutal 30-year sentence. The craziest part? Meech had an open lane to dip overseas and disappear for good. But instead, he faced that storm head-on like a real soldier.
Big Meech, bro, I ain't gonna lie. That man got to that compound, and man, he had some of the guys I would never think that would get EMF, ENT on the left side of their neck, man. It was tattooed, and he made it clear. He said, listen, I'm not giving nobody no connect. I'm not hooking nobody up with nothing. I'm not doing nothing when y'all go home. So in other words, you know, people try to get with him just for, you know, the games, you know, for me, let it be known, look, I ain't got nothing, nobody. I'm in jail doing my bid, that's what it is, you know what I'm saying? So
no running, no folding, just loyalty, power, and legacy. That move earned Big Meech massive respect in the Mafia family. BMF wasn't just some random crew. It was a dynasty built straight out of Southwest Detroit in 1985 by the Flannery brothers, Demetrius "Big Meech" Flannery and Terry Lee "Southwest T." These two weren't small-timers. They had top-tier connects to some of the biggest Mexican suppliers in the game. From the jump, they were moving like businessmen, not corner hustlers. They played it smart too.
Man, bro, I literally remember 25 guys after lunch will go to that record with Big Meech. They go take over the weight power. They're gonna work out. They're gonna hit the weights, do the little workout, and then after that, Big Meech gonna whoever got the wine, he gonna bottle the wine up. Whoever cooking food, he gonna bottle the food up, and he gonna sit in the cell or hang out and just talk war stories. Just talk about on the streets, man. He was a very good, humble dude. Very humble.
The brothers set up a family-owned car service to make everything look squeaky clean on paper, but behind the scenes, they were pushing serious weight. By the early 2000s, BMF had their fingerprints on the streets and the nightlife. Clubs, parties, music videos. Wolf Jones, who used to roll with Diddy. That night turned deadly fast. Meech got hit but survived, while Wolf and another man tragically didn't make it. That shootout became one of the most talked about moments in Atlanta's street history. But here's where it gets wild. BMF wasn't all blood and bullets. These dudes lived like straight-up moguls. 13 luxury mansions scattered across the country, fleets of Bentleys, Maybachs, and Ferraris shining under neon lights, and closets stacked wall-to-wall with Louis, Gucci, and Prada.
Do you think Big Meech, told on somebody to get out, snitched, did anything extra?
No. Let me tell you why. Big Meech's paperwork is public records. There is no proof that Big Meech said, hey, bust him, bust him, bust him. Now, the situation with the lady Tammy, the female that he cool with or whatever, mess with whatever, I was having an argument with somebody about this last night. Now, if we go by prison rules and standards, Big Meech didn't sit down with the agents and say, hey, my bro gonna go in and settle boy up for me, so make sure y'all give me the credit. So we couldn't make a move on him because his name not in the paperwork for saying authorized.
Meech wasn't just hustling, he was styling. And with Jacob the jeweler personally crafting his diamonds, every appearance was a flex that screamed power. Still, through all that glitz, Meech kept preaching one message. BMF was about family, loyalty, and unity. He saw his crew as brothers, not employees. But as the empire grew, that bond started cracking Yeah, it got that deep. And once that trust broke, there was no fixing it. The brothers decided to split the empire down the middle. T packed up for LA, keeping the plug alive with the Mexican Connect, while Meech held down Atlanta, turning it into BMF's flashy command center, complete with champagne, celebrities, and non-stop club takeovers. But that split was the beginning of the end. The family started fracturing, soldiers picked sides, and loyalty turned into tension overnight. The unity that once made BMF unstoppable now became the same reason it started falling apart.
Everybody's shining like new money. There ain't no other crew like this in the world, and there never will be another. Not black. It never will be, because it said that if like this is shining all together, being together, doing shit every day, then they gonna fall out over some money or somebody gonna rob, steal, and kill. I have yet to see that. All of us get along with me.
By 2000, Meech shifted gears, diving into the music business with...
I couldn't do it. If I was for self, I could have did that. I could have grabbed a bunch of millions and been on somewhere where you can't be extradited. But that wasn't what I was out for. I've already played the illegal game to the fullest. So now I was trying to legitimize me and the whole family. I mean, I was 37 years old when I got picked up, so I was slowing down anyway as far as I was getting kind of tired. But when you the face of the family, that's the one thing that I was trying to learn. Even at 37 years old, even though I'm feeling old because I've been doing it so long, I was getting kind of tired. You know me, I'm popping pills, smoking weed, drinking, and partying, freaking, getting money, got whips going up and down the road. I'm doing everything to try to make this family successful, and everything we do look big.
Suddenly, he wasn't just the man behind the movement, he was the movement. Money, fame, and that larger-than-life every room he stepped into a movie scene. BMF wasn't just a street crew anymore. It turned into a full-blown cultural takeover. The movement was bigger than rap. It was rap. Everybody who mattered wanted to be part of the BMF lifestyle. Diddy, Jay-Z, T.I., and even 50 Cent were right there, rubbing shoulders with Big Meech at legendary parties that still get talked about today.
For every place we stay at, LA, Atlanta, Detroit, we have homes, our own homes. We don't have to go in and rent. We got our own houses, we got our own cars, we got our own hoes, we got our own clothes. You know what I'm saying? And we can't be stopped. I don't see nobody stopped. I don't see none to come after us either. No, nobody will never do this again. There's this many niggas and this much money can't get along.
Yeah, dividing the operation made BMF even bigger, but he thought it was drawing too much attention, too much heat. He started venting to close friends and family, frustrated about how things were running. But what T didn't know was that the feds had every word on tape. His phone was tapped, his moves were monitored. They were tracking everything. Meanwhile, Meech kept ballin' like the king of Atlanta nightlife, dropping millions at clubs, hosting parties that made movie premieres look small time. But here's the cold part. While he was surrounded by rappers, models, and celebrities, he was also surrounded by undercover agents. The feds were deep in those parties, blending in with the crowd, collecting every detail, waiting for the perfect moment to strike.
Leaning on the counter laughing because we're drunk as hell. He's like, man, Yogi, my ass is burning. I'm like, what? He's like, man, I think I got shot in the ass. And sure enough, he got shot in the ass.
After a 15-year investigation, yeah, 15, the government finally had their perfect setup. The DEA, FBI, IRS, and local task forces all came together like it was a movie script. They stacked up nearly 1,000 pages of wiretaps, bank records, surveillance photos, and statements from folks trying to save their own skin.
There when it was changed,
Exactly.
and they caught it. Okay, we're gonna catch, we're gonna do this party, we're gonna have the tigers and the lions, and you know what I'm saying, elephants and stuff. All like we never seen that type of stuff. Like you can say what you want to say, you know what I'm saying, about, but that type of stuff you only seen in movies, and you didn't even see that in movies.
Yeah.
Like for real, not no black people really doing it like that. You know what I mean? So from here to Miami, Cancun, renting out the whole jet. You know, it's stuff that people still ain't doing to this day.
Exactly.
It was an ironclad case. There was no slipping out of this one. Then, in 2005, the hammer dropped. A nationwide raid went down that shook hip-hop to its core. Big Meech and Southwest T were both arrested on massive drug trafficking and racketeering charges. T got snatched in St. Louis coming.
U.S. Marshals say this man, one of Atlanta Police Department's top 10 most wanted, and a member of an organized crime family, is now behind bars. U.S. Marshals tell me they arrested 37-year-old Ernest Dennis and 40-year-old Jonathan Manigo here outside a Buckhead hotel. Both men, they say, are members of the so-called Black Mafia family, or BMF.
Anyone tied to BMF typically has an extensive criminal history, so we consider them to be very violent.
Investigators say the organization BMF is heavily involved in drug trafficking and has been in Atlanta at least since 2004. At that time, federal agents seized this limo with secret compartments that had almost $1 million hidden inside.
Before the feds even kicked in the doors, he could feel the walls closing in. When T got grabbed first, Meech had the perfect chance to vanish. He could have crossed the border, disappeared in Mexico, and lived like a ghost. But nah, Meech wasn't built like that. Instead of running, he faced the storm head on. First, he tried to lay low in Miami for a bit, keeping a low profile, but the net was too tight. Eventually, he made his way to Frisco, Texas, thinking he had some breathing room. They swept through everybody. Their family got caught in the fallout. Their father, sister, and even their girlfriends got dragged into it, all because their names were tied to properties and shell businesses connected to BMF's money flow. Nobody was spared once the investigation hit full force. Then came the pressure game. The DEA wanted to make it sting, offering Meech and T a brutal deal, take full responsibility, and their family walks free. And being the real ones they were, they stood tall and took it. No hesitation, no finger pointing, just accountability and loyalty till the end. The hammer came down under the Continuing Criminal Enterprise Statute, the same law that crushed major kingpins before them. Big Meech and Southwest T both took guilty pleas and got slammed with 30-year federal sentences each. No parole, no shortcuts, just time to face what came with the empire they built. T caught a lucky break years later when COVID hit. In 2020, he got an early release to serve out the rest of his time on house arrest. But Meech, man, he wasn't that lucky. They shut down his request for compassionate release, even with real health concerns on deck. Fast forward, after putting in 2 decades behind bars, Big Meech finally walked free in October 2024. But it wasn't no victory lap. He's still under strict the drop of BMF, The Rise and Fall of Big Meech and the Black Mafia Family by Marshall Hoop in 2010. The legend was just getting started. That same year, Rick Ross came through heavy with his hit single BMF, blowing money fast, putting Meech's whole flashy lifestyle on blast for the world to see. Then by 2020, off the pure strength of the BMF name, 50 Cent and Stars flipped the Empire story into a smash TV series. And to make it even more real, Big Meech's own son, Lil Meech, made his acting debut playing his pops. The show blew up crazy, and by 2022, 50 and Stars dropped an 8-hour docuseries called BMF Documentary, Blowing Money Fast. Then in 2023, 50 kept stacking wins, announcing 3 BMF spin-offs and a 3rd season already cooking up. BMF was becoming bigger than ever. But just when it looked like everything was up and stuck for Meech and BMF, one photo flipped the whole script. When Big Meech linked up with Rick Ross right after getting out, a picture of them went viral, and it kicked off a massive fallout between him and 50 Cent. 50 didn't stay quiet either. He straight up accused Meech of snitching and announced he was shutting down the BMF series. As for Meech, he's been real silent on the drama with 50, but he made one thing loud and clear. He never snitched on nobody. Still, 50 ain't letting it go. Now he's out here saying he got real paperwork proving Meech worked with the feds, but a lot of folks ain't buying that story, especially since those documents have been floating around for a minute, and even then, they don't directly call Meech an informant. Now here's where it gets messy. Even if Tammy Cowan snitched and helped slice Meech's sentence down, that don't automatically mean Meech was involved. If it was a real setup, Meech would have had to give Tammy the green light to pass info to the feds for a deal. But if he didn't know or didn't co-sign anything, then it's more of a technicality, not Meech actually snitching. Still, 50's son is now pushing the idea that Meech did know what was going on and that he was feeding Tammy info from behind bars to pass along. But cats like Gangsta Williams, who were really in the trenches with Meech, are standing tall saying they ain't buying none of it. They swear on everything that Meech never folded. So what y'all think? Why's 50's son pushing this Meech snitched narrative so hard now? And if that paperwork's been out for years, why was 50 cool making a whole hit TV show about Meech? But suddenly it's a problem because he linked up with Rick Ross. Is 50 just playing petty? Or y'all think he got a point? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you rockin' with the real stories. Catch y'all on the next one.